Nick Sirianni spouting more gibberish, not answering questions, has both Eagles fans concerned and fuming, and I am 100% convinced. And when we go through this, please let me know in the comments where I messed up, where you think I'm right. If the Eagles do not win a Super Bowl, and that window is closing quickly, okay, that's the way it works. We've got more free agents coming. We've got salary cap issues. Super Bowl windows do not last very long. It is going to come down to the coaching or lack thereof from Nick Sirianni and Kevin Patullo 100%. That is how I think the season is going to end, if or why the season ends if it does not end with a Super Bowl championship. Thank you so much for being here. Appreciate all your support. Hope you're having an amazing day. Let's dig into this because Nick, of course, got asked about the offense because why shouldn't he? The Eagles' offense has been terrible all season long. I actually had the video, but the audio is so low on it, can barely hear it. So I do. He's asked if there's an identity on the offense. Are they developing and have they found it? I do. So he's telling you there is an identity. They have found it, and then proceeds to not tell us what that is. I think we are continuing to get better through that, and I think that it's shown in some of these last games. Obviously, Buffalo, we had a bad half where we didn't do a good enough job of coaching. We didn't do a good enough job of playing. But yeah, I think we have. No, the Buffalo game was 100% on the coaching. It was a disastrous second half with absolutely abysmally bad play calling to the point that if we were going to be doing things correctly, if we are truly a professional win a Super Bowl or else team, Kevin Patullo should have been fired before that game ended. I'm just saying. Um, but and as you can see from some of the people in the responses right away as well, the identity is to make the fans want to bash their heads into the coffee table 100%. Sirianni giving us the same mumbo jumbo on the Eagles offense. Bro is in denial for sure. If you want to call grossly underachieving and predictable 3-and-out machine an identity, sure, be proud, I guess. This will never not apply to Sirianni. So, Nick, what would you say you do here? 100%. Let's dig into this. Biggest problem is that none of the problems, none of the issues that have been going on have been fixed or improved over 17 games. Not one of them. And this team desperately wanted Jalen Hurts to be seen as the problem, which is why you saw Tanner McKee throw it 40 times, even though they played a lot of the Washington Redskins starters. It's a terrible defense, a terrible passing defense. They were hoping Tanner McKee would light it up and they could say, see, it's not the system. It's Jalen Hurts. We're so limited in what we can do because of Jalen Hurts, which we're going to get to later on as well in a minute. But look, let's just briefly recap. Always breaking the huddle late, getting to the line of scrimmage, not having time to read the defense, not having time to make adjustments or changes or change the play call. Been going on all season long. Not Jalen Hurts, because Jalen Hurts has played before this season and it was not a problem. The offense is ridiculously predictable. They don't run crossing patterns. They run more hitches than not just any team this year, but it seems like in NFL history. We know that there are far fewer runs with the QB this year. And look, I'm okay with Jalen having a reduced role as basically a running back because of what that can do to him. However, there's nothing wrong with running the ball once or twice early and then running different things while showing the same play, while showing the same formation, because now you've at least put that in the defense, the opposing team's minds, the defense and the defensive coordinator calling the plays. Say, hey, you know what? We have to at least pay attention to the possibility because they've already shown that they can do it. We've got the historic 3-and-outs, right? Another thing that's historic, the Eagles go 3-and-out all the time. Again, you saw last game what Nick Sirianni does. Get a double-digit lead in the second half, and then it's just basically, we're just gonna go 3-and-out. We're not gonna turn the ball over. We're gonna go 3-and-out every single time, grind down our own defense, wear out our own defense, and fingers crossed that they play well enough that we hold on for the victory, which they managed to do very luckily in Buffalo. We've talked about the tendencies also with formations, whether it's two tight ends, two tight ends and an offensive lineman, whatever it is, that how predictable they are with their play calls, how often they're going to run. We know the fact that they're going to run away from Grant Calcaterra in certain formations all of the time, which makes things obviously very difficult for the offense. We give up. 100% we give up on the end of at the end of the half. We never try and make anything happen in terms of points. We never try and make anything happen in terms of points on 3rd and long. We always give up on we don't Nick Sirianni takes so little risk. He's so risk averse that it's actually a riskier offense because of Nick Sirianni. We all know the offensive line issues, okay? And that is clearly makes things a lot more difficult. 100%. That is absolutely true. The offensive line, and that is why we're seeing so many of the struggles because in past years, the offensive line had been so good and they have so many good skill players that, to paraphrase Nick, the Eagles were winning on talent alone. The talent was overcoming the horrific play calling, but with a bad offensive line this year, Devontae Smith, AJ Brown, Jalen Hurts, Saquon Barkley, they cannot overcome the terrible and predictable and conservative play calling because the offensive line simply is not good enough. They have a tendency for whatever in reason in big situations where they would use Will Shipley instead of Tank Bigsby. They didn't use Tank Bigsby nearly enough this year. They don't attack an opponent's weakness very, very well. Look, nobody was open in the passing game, not just, again, we saw that last week. They thought they were going to make a thing with Tanner McKee throwing 40 times, but again, no one's open because the play calling is terrible. The play sequencing, which I've mentioned so many times, that it's not just individually a specific play call, but as the sequencing of plays is absolutely horrifically bad. We'll go back to the Washington game for a second. Tank Bigsby, 16 carries, 75 yards, and a touchdown. Close game. He scored a touchdown in the third. What about 2 minutes left? Give the Eagles the lead. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, but I do believe in looking at the film again, that was the last time Tank Bigsby carried the football. He did not touch the football the entire fourth quarter. Now we're going to get to one of the big lies with Jalen Hurts. You've heard this a lot, right? It's the play calling is limited by the quarterback. The quarterback can only do very few things. There are a lot of things he can't do well, and so therefore we can't call certain plays. One of them, as you may know, is a crossing route, right? Jalen can't throw over the middle. Jalen doesn't want to throw over the middle. Jalen on crossing routes this season, 32 of 38, which is the second highest completion percentage among quarterbacks, 329 passing yards on that 32 of 38, 3 touchdowns. That is a 129.1 passer rating. Here's the problem. While the Eagles ran an historically high number of hitches, they ran a historically low number of crossing routes. In fact, third lowest in the NFL. The bottom line is this offensive, the play calling, this offense just isn't good because of the play calling, because of Kevin Matullo, because of Nick Sirianni, and the talent with the diminished play of the offensive line, diminished play of Cam Jurgens, Jordan Mailata, Lane Johnson being hurt. The skill players cannot overcome both the offensive line and the terrible play calling. And so my concern going into this game against San Francisco, and that's my big concern in the playoffs against anyone, can this team overcome bad coaching? And has the thought of John Harbaugh, let me ask you this, I'll leave you with this thought. Let me know in the comments. What Baltimore did with John Harbaugh, does that plant a seed in Jeffrey Lurie's mind, in Howie Roseman's mind, that if the Eagles don't win to the Super Bowl, or at least don't get to the Super Bowl, is Nick Sirianni done in Philadelphia? Right now, I know, I get it. Nick has as many Super Bowl wins as Harbaugh did in 18 seasons. But if you look at Harbaugh's total record, right, 180 wins in 18 seasons, I think 6 division titles, Super Bowl championship, uh, actually a better playoff record before Lamar got there. But does it make the Eagles think, hey, you know what? If we don't at least get to a Super Bowl, is Nick done? Because again, windows are very, very small. The Giants may get somebody like John Harbaugh as their coach next year. They've got some good young talent. The Giants may very well be the team to beat in the NFC East next year, which is going to be a problem for the Philadelphia Eagles. Anyway, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. As always, appreciate you checking this out. Smash the like button, subscribe to the channel. I will talk to you later.